The hurricane headlines out of Florida tonight, new efforts to safeguard some of the state's most vulnerable, and a presidential visit. William Brangham begins with this report.
With new urgency, emergency workers moved more elderly residents out of facilities that lost power and air conditioning in the hurricane. The State Health Care Association estimated at least 60 nursing homes still lacked electricity. The state's main utility company said it's doing everything it can.
Getting hospitals and other critical facilities online is essential to getting a community back on its feet following a disaster like this one.
All of this after 8 patients died Wednesday at a sweltering rehabilitation center in Hollywood, Florida, on the Atlantic coast. City officials said a criminal investigation is still underway, and police executed a search warrant, but there have been no arrests.
We're looking into the temperature inside the facility, the staffing inside the facility, and all of the conditions inside the facility in the hours leading up to this situation.
President Trump visited the state's southwestern coast, where Hurricane Irma first came ashore last weekend. He got a first-hand look at recovery efforts in Fort Myers and Naples.
The job that everybody has done in terms of first responder and everybody has been incredible. And by the way, that includes the people that live here, because you see the people immediately getting back to work to fix up their homes.
Mr. Trump also spoke of his well-known fondness for Florida. He has an estate in Palm Beach.
We are there for you 100%. I'll be back here numerous times. I mean, this is a state that I know very well, as you understand, and these are special, special people, and we love them.
The president was joined by First Lady Melania Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Together, they helped hand out food and water to storm victims in a mobile home park. To the south, parts of the Florida Keys remained inaccessible, but more reports emerged of extensive property damage.
We were in a big house on the ocean, which we thought was going to be safe because it was 3 stories, and the house basically caved in. I mean, we barely made it.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Virgin Islands are also in desperate need after being blasted by Irma when the storm was at full strength. People on St. John and St. Thomas have been living off military food rations distributed by U.S. Marines and the National Guard.
It's not enough, but it's better than nothing at all. You know, it's something that you can eat for the day. You know, it keeps you sustained for the day if you don't have much of the stores aren't still open.
A Royal Caribbean cruise ship brought more than 500 evacuees into Puerto Rico today. It's loading up with supplies to take to French St. Martin tonight. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm William Brangham.
As we heard, the Florida Keys are still reeling from a devastating hit. They're largely inaccessible and conditions remain very difficult. To get a sense of what communities are dealing with, I spoke by phone this afternoon with the Vice Mayor of Marathon, Florida, Michelle Coldiron, and asked her how her city was doing.
We received a lot of damage. We currently do not have our electric on. We do not have water services. We do not have cell services. We don't have internet connection. So it's pretty sketchy right now. However, we do have a very collaborative, structured team on the ground. They're working in collaboration with Monroe County. We have a well-trained recovery effort in progress as we speak.
What are your greatest needs right now?
Right now, our greatest needs are food, fuel, and water. Our Marathon Airport has been cleared so that official planes can arrive. They are coming in. We have C-130s that are arriving with the needs our city is requiring to rebuild. We have the Florida Department of Transportation is working tirelessly. The electric company's working, the first responders. So we really are doing our best to get our city back open again.
Are residents being allowed back in?
No, sir, they are not yet. It is still too unsafe for them to come back in. Currently, we have, as you know, the Florida Keys. We have one road in and one road out. We had to do a cut and clear to get all of US 1 highway open. Then the Florida Department of Transportation had to check the integrity of all of those bridges. They're all cleared and are passable. Now our crews on the ground, our city staff, Marathon city staff and the utility department are going street by street to do the search and rescue and to continue with the cut and clears. So until that's finished and until we get our electric and until we get our water running, i.e. toilets to flush, it will not be safe for our residents to return.
We've heard some are angry trying to get back in. What would you tell people who are probably anxious, homeowners, business owners?
And I understand that anxiety level, as I too am off site. And it is very frustrating, and it's heart-wrenching. However, we need to let the 2,000 volunteers that are professional volunteers, the linesmen, the first responders, we need them there so that they can get our city safe to open up again. Our hospital is not open right now. So if all of our residents came back in and somebody got hurt, there would be no way for them to get medical services. Even though we have set up a walk-in clinic behind Marathon City Hall, it is still too soon. It's 4 days. We need to put it in perspective. We're 4 days out of a catastrophe, and we are doing a remarkable job.
The folks that decided to ride out the storm, when you say there's no food, fuel, or power, what's the condition of people in the shelters on the ground?
They're doing all right. We have had some food delivery. FEMA is on the ground now. Red Cross is on the ground now. We have a shelter set up, and we're doing distribution of food and water at the Marathon High School is one of the stations. We do have a base camp set up in Marathon, so there is some food, fuel, and water. It's just that is what is in high demand for all of the professional staff and folks that are there working on the ground.
Michelle Coldiron, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the call.
As we heard, there are still millions of people without power in Florida and Georgia, close to 6 million as of this evening. The pace of restoring power has undoubtedly been picking up speed, but it's a difficult situation given the magnitude of the outages. To help us understand the scope of the challenge, we're joined by Scott Aronson of the Edison Electric Institute, which represents investor-owned utilities. I have covered a few hurricanes. I've never seen a rollout this big with this many different agencies, this many volunteers. How's it going?
That's exactly right. It is a huge rollout. It was a historic storm, as you're seeing from all of the footage. It is historic impact, and it's requiring a historic response. So I want to update the number. You said close to 6 million outages. We're actually right now, as of just about an hour ago, 2.1 million outages still in Florida.
Now, are those customers or people?
So those are customers.
Okay.
And so a little bit more on the people side, but to say the least, we started with 7.8 million outages just 3 days ago. We're at 2.1 million now, so you see the pace of progress is really picking up.
I often realize that the last 5%, 10% are the hardest ones to get to. So are there dates, are there goals that you have on when everybody in this region is going to have their power back on?
So the estimated times of restoration, yes. In the less hard-hit areas, we're looking for most people by the end of this weekend at the latest. By the really hard-hit areas, you're talking about places that had flooding, catastrophic flooding, places that had tornadoes, maybe toward the end of next week. But again, 60,000 workers from all over North America are descending on the affected area to respond to this historic storm.
Give us an idea of the complexity here. I mean, we saw in some of those pictures that it's not just about getting the person there. I mean, that there's sort of a tangled web of things that have to happen in order for the light to come back on.
That's exactly right. It's an interconnected system. There's a lot of things that have to happen, sort of gating items, if you will. First, we have to make sure the generation is on, up and running. Fortunately, with this storm, that was not an issue. But then we go for the biggest swath that we can possibly get, and that's going to be the transmission system, the interstate highway system of the electric grid, if you will. And then from there, you get into the neighborhoods, and that's where sort of the onesies, twosies that are going to take a little bit more time to get to. But because of the way that companies practice this, and because of just the absolutely monumental effort from all across North America to come support the companies in Florida and Georgia, by the way, we're seeing that pace quicken.
But what are the areas that are going to be the hardest to get to? I mean, is it the edge of the Keys where this vice mayor was talking to us from?
I think that's right. I think you're going to see some of those barrier islands, some of the Keys, some of those places that were hit by tornadoes, some of those places that were hit by catastrophic flooding. There's going to be an instance where customers simply can't take power because their homes have been damaged too much. And so we're seeing that in the restoration from Hurricane Harvey over in Houston as well. So much flooding, we're going to have to wait until those homes can actually accept electricity.
And it doesn't also just seem like it's about the power poles. I mean, it seems like a lot of these trucks, the debris needs to be cleared before they can even get there safely.
In this particular case with Florida, you know, Mother Nature had not done a house cleaning in Florida in about a decade, and so we were seeing a lot of vegetation on the ground. In the business, it's known as vegetation management, and so what we're doing actually was one of the impressive things about this particular restoration. There was a need for more veg management folks, as they're known in the business, and we were able to bring them into the affected area, get more of them, so we can start clearing that debris and then ultimately restore the power.
All right, Scott Aronson of the Edison Electric Institute. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.